Biden warns the world is at an inflection point amid global crisis. President Biden used his final speech to the UN on Tuesday to celebrate his defense of Ukraine against Russia's invasion and his work to restore United States global alliances, but he also warned that the advances of his administration could easily fall apart if America returns to isolationism. In an address of little more than 20 minutes to the UN General Assembly, Joe Biden combined personal touches with policy imperatives and impassioned defense of democracy. He traced the arc of his own political career from election to the Senate in 1972 at age 29, to his difficult decision 2 months ago to drop his bid for re-election, a decision he framed as a lesson for other heads of state. My fellow leaders, Biden said, let us never forget some things are more important than staying in power. Not surprisingly, Biden focused heavily on America's and the West's response to the Ukraine invasion, declaring that the United States and its allies, chiefly NATO, had ensured the survival of Ukraine as a free nation. But he stopped short of assessing how he did in what he has described as the central challenge of his time, ensuring that democracy wins over autocracy. He acknowledged that Ukraine's power to hold off Russia could be fleeting, a point that set the stage for Biden's meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine at the White House on Thursday. We cannot grow weary, we cannot look away, the president said, in what may be his last opportunity to rally global support behind a conflict that has played a central role in his presidency. Joe Biden came to office promising to restore American leadership in the world. America is back, he liked to say. He used Tuesday's UN speech to spotlight his administration efforts at global engagement, from investments in clean energy and clean water in developing nations to a new commitment, announcing during his speech to spend $500 million and donate 1 million vaccines to confront the growing mpox epidemic in Africa. But Joe Biden must also confront the limits of his promise. All around him, there are problems yet to solve. In Gaza, a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas remains elusive. And there's also the underway what's happening in Lebanon. And Biden spoke threatening a multi-front war in Middle East. Gaza, Ukraine face worsening humanitarian crisis. America's back, all right, he can make that case, but with severe limitations on its capacity to lead, said Aaron David Miller, a longtime Middle East peace negotiator who has advised presidents of both parties. Biden's administration is a cautionary tale. I think of just how complicated and surprising the international environment is, and the limitations of American power. And when he hosts Zelensky at the White House on Thursday, Biden will come under new pressure to let Ukraine use American long-range missiles to strike into Russian territory. Now, while Zelensky will speak to the entire General Assembly on Wednesday, Russia's President Vladimir Putin was absent. Russia is being represented by longtime Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Joe Biden used his speech to take a shot at the Russian president, saying Mr. Putin's war had already failed at his core aim. China's President Xi Jinping also skipped the annual event, meaning that the two major powers confronting the United States during Biden's presidency will be barely heard. Biden made no mention of his efforts to keep China from obtaining advanced technology or selling its most advanced high-tech products here in the United States, but he did give a nod to China's cooperation with the United States to stop the flow of deadly narcotic fentanyl. And later in the day, Biden addressed the global coalition to end synthetic drug threats. He acknowledged that his time was short. He only has a few months left to tackle the series of grave global crises, and there is significant risk that his vision of global alliance will be abandoned if Trump resumes office in January, he says. On the Middle East, Biden made a point of highlighting the civilian casualties. Now, with one year anniversary of Hamas against Israel, the president reiterated his long-held position that Israel has a right to defend itself. Now, when his speech was over, the president paused to take in the applause, and then he put his hand on his heart, gave a brief wave, and walked off the stage, his fourth and final address to the United Nations General Assembly behind him. This is from the New York Times on DNYUZ. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.